Hi guys, Brian here. So I've started the final version of the Gauntlet. I've done a number of prototypes, I've learned basically everything I think I need to know to move on to the final version. Coincidentally, since I had, for the second prototype, removed all the finger pieces from the glove, I went ahead and just attached them with scraps of foam and actually inverted them so it's now a right hand. And it's kind of silly and kind of pointless, but hey, it made me chuckle. I also did an experiment with the glove the final glove that I'm going to be using, because they were always a bit too small for me, and I didn't really know what to do, so I experimented and decided to cut the tips off of them a little bit. And now my fingers poke through it, and if I keep that in mind when I'm gluing the finger bits, it should be just fine, because now the glove fits a whole lot nicer on my hand. So when I glue the foam pieces on, it should theoretically be much better. And my preliminary placements of these pieces did confirm that. So I'm looking forward to that. I also did a quick experiment with the paint that I'm going to use. I'll show the paint off in the end part of this video, but I went ahead and, using the Mark III prototype, did a little bit. On this piece, I just threw on a little bit of quick silver. No, it's just a quick chrome spray paint that I just wanted to make sure would adhere to the Plastidip in a good fashion and not leave any sort of residue that I would be annoyed at. And then I did what I was planning on doing and topped that off with some clear red. I also had some metallic red spray paint, so I decided to spray the back of the hand with that, and it's a little patchy, but it looks alright. But I think I'm going to go with the original plan of silver and then clear red on top of it. So, I'm liking how this has turned out. But for the final version itself, I've already gone ahead and cut the pieces, and if you'll excuse me while I pick you up and move you, I will show you that they are basically about to be Plastidipped. So, as I was going, I've realized that keeping these finger pieces identified was actually kind of difficult, and keeping them down and sprayed and covered on the Mark III prototype was pretty difficult. So, I made a little hand model for it. But these are the final pieces of the gauntlet. These will be the ones that I will be gluing onto this glove and painting. On the Mark III, I really like the gluing the... I like gluing these bits to the Mark III, so I imitated that. This handpiece is actually wider than the Mark II... Here, let me grab it. The Mark III prototype and the final version. The top piece is wider. I felt it needed to be a little wider. So in actuality, I didn't actually need to widen it, I don't think. In fact, the piece on the side here, I cut down quite a bit to try and shorten it. But it'll still work. I'm quite satisfied with it. So that's basically the setup I have right now. I'm going to go down and start Plastidipping these guys. Oh, for the hand, I guess I could mention, literally I just shoved my hand on a, getting frame here. Literally I shoved my hand on a piece of cardboard, traced it, cut it out, and then I took two little bits of cardboard and put it at the angle that I want so that I'll be able to spray it. And that's basically it. I'm just gonna take this down into my work area and spray these guys now. See you later. Alright, so with just a few days left to get the gauntlet done for Youmacon, here's the next part. My first step for this segment is going to be touching up some of the stuff that has worn. I'm probably not going to touch it all up, I don't know. Anyway, I want to touch up some of the bits that have worn off that I didn't intend to. And then I'm going to try my hand at weathering, which I haven't done too much of, but I'm going to add some dirt and grime to it. For paints, I'm using Tamiya paints. I use them for painting Transformers, and that's what I happen to have at hand. So let's see how they work on these guys. I always start off by mixing my paints. Luckily, I actually have some clear red dry brush paint, so I can pretty easily match what is going on the gauntlet. So theoretically, this is the same paint that I sprayed on it, just in a different form. Oops. Helps if you don't touch it after you paint it, because then you have to go back and fix it. And again, I'm probably doing this really crappily, because I'm probably not as good as I want to be painting. Now, this gauntlet did actually get the weathering kind of naturally, and it did look kind of interesting. But I didn't really want it to be all that weathered. And it's weathering kind of quickly on its own, so I kind of suspect that it will weather kind of naturally as I'm at Youmacon. For bigger areas, I'm going to bust out the big brush. Oh yes, I forgot about an area that I intended to really... an area that I had missed when spray painting. And I really wanted to hit at this point. Alright, and now just to let it dry for a little while before I do some more touch-ups. Alright, first bit is dry. So I'm now going to do the same thing for some of the other sides that I didn't see earlier. Of course, I start off by mixing my paint again. Now for the part that I'm going to find the most annoying, probably. Redoing the fingertips. These guys have the most wear on them already. I'm basically going to have to look at each individual one, reevaluate each and every single one individually to see where and how much they need to be touched back up. I'm probably going to have to do several coats of these. But it basically just has to look good for one day, so shouldn't be too hard, I think. I hope. Yep, these fingers are definitely a pain in the ass. I definitely have to do them in stages. I can't even pick them up to look at all the different sides that need to be retouched. Basically, I've now gotten to the point where I have to let the fingers dry so I can manipulate the gloves. I can take a look to see where else I need redo. At least for the glove part. For the gauntlet, I can already see spots that I can still touch up again. Normally, when doing something like this, you'd want weathering effects. But I want this to be a little bit well-maintained looking. Thus, not quite drastically worn and torn. I am going to be adding some, and as I've said, I expect at Youmacon it will actually produce its own wear, which I'm okay with. But going in, I'd like it to look kind of off the rack, if that's a term I can use. And now to let it sit some more. Alright, now it's time to actually start doing the weathering like I wanted to do. So just getting my brush as uncontaminated with other colors as possible. So I'm going to be using black for this. My phone rings. Ian, hi, I'm filming something. Alright, let's try that again. Now Ian's done bothering me as he's trying to film a full play of something. So, grabbing my black paint, of course, mix that up. Alright, now I'm going to try and get as little paint on the brush as possible. In fact, I'm even just going to slap it down there just so I can get more of the paint off so that I have as little as possible. And then I'm just going to dab in some of the crevices. And I think with weathering, it's... Granted, I'm very much not an expert in weathering. I think it's best to try and be messy with it. I'm very much not an expert with weathering, so I'm probably doing really stuff that's bad and giving bad advice. But I suspect the best way to do it is to kind of just be messy with it. Don't try to be clean with it, because if you get too clean with it, you make it look artificial. But I'm just basically trying to go a little bit around the edges where things would kind of naturally just kind of gam up. Worst case scenario, if I really screw this up and make it look ugly, I have plenty of clear red paint in which to do so. I can always Control Z, which more things should have a Control Z in it. It'd be nice if life had a edit undo button. I think these little raised bits are probably going to be something that would have attracted dirt. So as I said, I'm very much not really all that experienced with weathering. So if you guys happen to know of any good sites or videos showing good tutorials on how to weather, I am, as always, eager to experience those. I'm all about the constructive criticism and improving your own stuff, I guess. That's a great sentence there. I think I'm overdoing stuff on this. My personal motto for stuff is to be subtle, hence why I think I'm probably overdoing this crap. But like I said, luckily I can undo this pretty easily. I think that's it for this little painting session. Ugh, yeah, I definitely did too much on this. That is ugly. That is really kind of ugly. That is dirty. So, time to edit undo some of this. Let's grab the clear red again. Granted, taking paint off with a clear red probably isn't going to be as effective as it would be with any other colors now that I think about it. Maybe it's not as bad as I thought. Although it could just be a matter of being a liquid as opposed to painting over it. So, note to self, clear paints are not as easy to undo mistakes as regular colors. If I had painted this with a metallic red paint as opposed to the chrome and then clear red that I did, this would be so much easier to undo some of these. Oh, geez, oh Pete, I really went to town on this. It's amazing how you don't see all the crap you're doing until you take a step back and look at the crap you did. I definitely went overboard with this. This looks hideous now. So earlier when I mentioned if you guys have any tips on how to do weathering stuff, if you have any tips on how to undo weathering stuff, that's not something I would be opposed to seeing either. So apparently I'm a bad person. By the way, Ian said hi. Hi guys! So, as you've probably seen by now, I finished the gauntlet, and here it is. So, as I mentioned in my weathering segment, I fucked it up. I did too much weathering on it. I like what I did on the palm with the weathering, but the gauntlet here, I just did too much. I overkilled it. Should have gone more subtle than I did, but I kind of got lost in the moment. For the transmutation symbol, I bought this stuff, which was labeled clear full sheet sticker labels or something to that effect, and expected it to be clear printer paper that I could print out and it would stick to whatever surface I did. It is not clear. It is very much that like Scotch tape. I'm not really clear, but I'm kind of clear. So if I was using it on anything but this, it'd probably be alright. But that was basically useless. So I had to, at the last second, figure out a new way to do that. I'm actually kind of pleased with myself about how I got this. I took a sheet of that paper and put a strip of regular packing tape, clear packing tape on it, and then printed out the symbol on it and let it sit for like 5 to 10 minutes to try and dry, and then said, okay, is it dry? Is it gonna run? Yes, it's gonna run. So wipe that off. And then did it again, but instead of touching it after I let it dry, I instead took a second piece of packing tape and put it over it. And the effect works. It's not an ideal solution because a couple of them I made some extra ones in case. They don't look amazing, but they look pretty decent. So that was a decent way to do it. And they are sturdy now, so it looks good, does what I wanted it to do. I could have painted this red, like I was originally going to, but I think it looks okay with the silver. I glued one to the glove like I'm gonna have. I used super glue for this, but apparently contact cement would be better, but I don't have any contact cement and didn't feel like running out to buy some at 10 o'clock in the evening. So I'll have to deal with any issues that arise at Youmacon. But back to the gauntlet. I can already see it's starting to scuff again just from moving around and talking about stuff. But as for the gauntlet itself, I'm pleased with it. It's imperfect. I see every single mistake I can see in it. But I hope to you guys and to anyone who I meet at Youmacon, or rather by the time this comes out, have met at Youmacon, I hope they enjoy it. I hope you guys enjoy it. Let me know if I'm just being too harsh on this, because I see every single little mistake. Like, that bugs me. The amount of... that edge not lining up bugs me. All this weathering I did just looks ugly. And all these little joints, I see the glue popping out everywhere. I see every single flaw in this thing, so let me know if I'm being too harsh on myself. Despite seeing all the flaws, I do like it. It is very interesting. The next time I do any armor stuff, I'm definitely going to buy a strip of Warbler or experiment with that stuff, because I prefer something more rigid than this foam is. Well, I'll see. If you guys have any suggestions about what I should do next, let me know. I'm open to suggestions. For Youmacon itself, I'm just going to have to glue a few more spots down that have come up from putting it on and off. I like it well enough, I guess. I'd give myself a solid C on this. Let me know what you guys think, though. So, thank you for watching me on this journey to create this Automail Gauntlet. I know it's actually been one of our pretty decently viewed videos, so I want to thank you guys for watching them. I'm curious to know what you guys think about it, though, so let me know how I did, let me know what your guys' opinions on it are. See ya!